Chattle.
All right, a little better.
A little better?
Yeah, your Yaddle Chattle screams have become a thing now where the Yaddle heads are talking.
Oh.
They're saying that now you have a very weird thing where sometimes when you talk, you're so meek. You're such a nice, humble Jedi that people can barely hear you. But then at the beginning of the episode, your Yaddle Chattle is so loud.
Well, I'm trying.
It's like, Roger Daltrey at the end of The Who's Won't Get Fooled Again. It's like, ah! Bow, 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 bow.
Okay, so you want me to try to keep up the energy, or you want me to start?
I want you to keep up the energy, but is there a way you can talk like a proper human being? Someone who knows how to control the volume of their voice to make it hearable, but yet not so distractingly loud that the Yaddle heads say, "We hate Jedi Jared." By the way, you're listening to Yaddle Chattle, the greatest new Star Wars podcast out there in the galaxy, and my name, baby, is Darth David. Let's go. Nope.
Sorry.
Nothing. I mean, when I say it like that, I feel, yeah. I haven't been giving myself applauses, but that felt like an applause worthy.
Okay, you got your applause.
My name is Darth David. There you go. Louder. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And with me, as always, my co-host on the dark side of the Force. We gotta have someone to represent the light. His name is Jedi Jared.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week on Yaddle Chattle.
Comments about what I've said, which is 100% true.
Okay.
That people have said is Jared just trying to, make our ears explode with his extremely loud Yaddle Chattles. And then everyone lowers their damn radios down, and here's Jared, 15 minutes in the show.
I like Luke Skywalker, Dave, man. I like Luke. He's one of my favorite Jedis, man.
Your other thing is that I have a first-class microphone.
Okay.
It's first class, top of the line, Yaddle heads. I spared no expense. HD camera and HD microphone. You understand? Okay, this is good equipment. But the key about this microphone is it's only gonna pick it up if you speak directly into the mic. And half the time, here's what Jared does. Hey, Dave! Hey, Dave! Or you go, like, hi, Dave, I don't know. And there's just no chance of Yaddle heads hearing you.
Okay, I will try to project more into the microphone. Is that okay?
Your head is still slightly tilting. What I've suggested you do is if you need to make contact with me, we've got the beautiful screen right in front of us. Look at me there.
Look at you in the screen.
At least it keeps your head straight talking into the microphone, but this is not mic chat. It's Yaddle Chattle. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get right into some of the Star Wars. Obviously, for the next, foreseeable future, for the next several weeks, it's going to be an Andor intensive show as we look at each and every Andor episode and break them all down for you. I think, though, we should mention something straight at the top that's not Andor related, although you could say that it was a little bit Rogue One related. James Earl Jones, Darth Vader, retiring at the age of 91. And yeah, I know, David Prowse and this and that and blah, 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 blah. The voice of Darth Vader is Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They could have gotten me or, well, not you.
No, I'm tiny.
I mean, I don't want to say why. They couldn't gotten you to play Darth Vader. But it would have been odd seeing, Darth Vader, with all due respect, look more like a Gamorrean guard in the body.
Okay.
Is that offensive that I just said that?
No.
No.
It's a fair assessment.
Okay, because you are wearing the green.
Yes.
And just, you
short and
have a
chubby.
Gamorrean. A what?
I'm short and chubby.
Okay. He said it.
I said it.
He said it, not me. The Darth didn't say that one. That was all Jedi Jared who said, what is it?
I'm short and chubby.
But You're nice, like a Gamorrean guard. You're loyal. Well, specifically the Boba Fett Gamorrean guards.
Yes.
Not the Jabba Gamorrean guards, who just became very quick Rancor monster lunch.
Yes.
We're talking about those guys. Those guys survived, right? Oh, no! They died! They fell off a cliff at the end of Book of Boba Fett, didn't they? They're dead.
Yeah.
Why did they kill those guys? I loved them. Why did they kill them and have them go off a cliff like that?
I'm sure they'll find new ones.
I like those ones. All right, now, as far as James Earl Jones goes, he has announced his official retirement. He will be no longer doing any new lines as the voice of Darth Vader. I was anticipating this, obviously, not just because of the fact that the guy's 91 years old, but with the AI and the deep fake technology that's being used with the faces, we knew that they were going to have AI deep fake technology being used for voices.
Yeah.
And essentially now you can more than likely put things through a perfect James Earl Jones filter, and Jared or myself could pretty much do the Darth Vader stuff these days as long as you have it through that James Earl Jones filter. He doesn't really need to be voicing anymore, though it was great to have him back doing the voice in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
Since we had Hayden Christensen there, and I love Hayden Christensen as Anakin Darth. But since we had Hayden, but James Earl Jones is the voice of Darth Vader.
Yes. Yes.
You know, we can't have, say, like I say from now on, we just let Hayden Christensen be Darth Vader, but you're still gonna, when he's wearing the mask, you're still gonna have to put him through the James Earl Jones filter.
Oh, you would have, no, there's no choice. You have to.
Okay. As far as a voice actor or a voice performance, this has to be the number one of all time.
I'd say
Better than, like, I'm going to allow cartoons since for the, you know, they're the voiceover kings. And originally, I always thought Robin Williams' performance in Aladdin just might be the all-around greatest voiceover performance ever.
I got something even
Because
better.
it's funny, he sings, he does this, he does that.
I got some
But this is iconic right here.
even better Star
Okay.
Wars related.
All right.
Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Okay, Mark Hamill as the Joker
when you-
always got tons and tons of critical acclaim. That is true.
Like, there have been so many people that have tried to do the voice, like, other voice actors have tried to be the Joker, and no one ever compares to how great Mark Hamill was as the Joker. Or
Yeah,
is
sometimes
when he appears.
sometimes the actors go with this weird, like, I'm an evil 1970s game show host type of way of talking for the bad guys. You know, they're always like, "Hey everybody, welcome! It's gonna be a crime spree." You could just imagine the same, like, you know, "Hey, it's password 1972," or "Hey, it's the match game. We got Charles Nelson Riley." You know, whatever. Like, you could do, like, I don't know, but you're right. Mark Hamill made the Joker into a truly homicidal, mentally insane clown. That's the way the Joker would sound. That's always my issue with, because I've told people that I think the Jack Nicholson Joker might actually be better than the Heath Ledger Joker, and that if you switched and put Nicholson's Joker into the Dark Knight, Batman the Dark Knight, it would be just as over and maybe even bigger. Because while Heath Ledger was great in terms of he was a psycho, I'm not sure if he had the clown comedy, I'm crazy, I don't know. But this isn't a Batman show.
No, I
It's
know.
a damn Star Wars. You see what you do to
I
me?
did not do that. All I was saying was that you were talking about voice acting in cartoons,
All right,
and
good
I brought
point.
it back to Star Wars.
I was talking voiceover for anything.
Yes.
Anything.
I would say more than I'd say next to Darth Vader, Mark Hamill as the Joker is probably one of the greatest, like, voice over.
How about this? How about this? The guy who I should have found out the actor's name, but the guy who voiced Hal in 2001: Space Odyssey. That's iconic.
Yes.
See, that's what I'm going for. Now, I actually agree with you that Mark Hamill as the voice of Joker is pretty iconic for Batman fans and cartoon fans. So I'm gonna let you slide on that one. But that's what I'm going for. But regardless, James Earl Jones. Think of it. Not only can you say...
Douglas Rain.
Okay, Douglas Rain, I never heard of you, but you did a great job as HAL 9000 in 2001: A Space Odyssey. HAL was great. Hello, Dave. Good morning, Dave. I should have like sound effects of that and like have that wake me up.
Yeah, that should be your alarm.
That would be fantastic. Good morning, Dave.
Coke Logic, can we get on that?
Please be good. Coke Logic loves us. But as far as our new producer goes, he hasn't actually contacted us since he demanded that he get the job. So I said, okay, Coke Logic, you've got the job. And as soon as he got the job as being the official Yaddle Chattle producer, I haven't heard him. But I know that he's listening because he's liking and enjoying all of our shows and he even comments.
It's like an honorary position.
It wasn't to me! To me, Coke Logic was the actual producer. We need help. We have a one-camera shot show on YouTube, which is still fantastic, by the way. It's
like
HD camera and HD microphone, but maybe a little guy runs around on the screen or something.
It's kind of like J.J. Abrams makes like a phone call and then he gets executive producer credit or something like that.
I get, no, 100%.
I think that's what he was going for. He just wants to put it on his IMDb or whatever.
Honorary. He's the honorary oos. This guy, Coke Logic. All right, James Earl Jones.
Yes.
Not only can I make a very valid argument that Darth Vader is the #1 villain in movie history.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even sure if a lot of people are debating that anymore. Like, I understand that you have your Hannibal Lecters and you have we're not going to include the slasher peoples, your Freddys and your Jasons, and even though I love all of them, I'm a horror movie fan, by the way. So I love Michael Myers and Leatherface. But we can't have those as the straight up villains. There's got to be something. It's not just that they're scary, they're psychological. And then you put on the fact that Darth Vader in the second movie is even better than the first movie and has one of the iconic then reveals of all time. So James Earl Jones is responsible for being the voice of arguably the greatest villain of all time, and then voicing the most shocking line in movie history. What are you looking? I am your father.
So, according to AFI, they have
American Film Institute?
They have him ranked as number 3.
Who?
Darth Vader.
Who's ahead of him?
Hannibal Lecter and Norman Bates.
I just said Hannibal Lecter. I knew that he was going to be chosen. But honestly, does Hannibal Lecter have more of a cultural impact and more of a legendary legacy than Darth Vader?
No.
The answer is no.
No.
Let's be honest. Silence of the Lambs is a brilliant, brilliant film. All of the sequels and spin-offs and blah, 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 questionable. Some are good, some are bad, some have moments. But come on now, okay? And even when Anthony Hopkins came out in the original 1991, I believe, is Silence of the Lambs, was that as big as Vader was in 1977?
No.
Hell no! AFI, you dropped the ball.
I'd agree.
All right, so would you also agree that I believe Luke, I am your father is one of the biggest lines and reveals in movie history?
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest plot twists ever. That Darth Vader is Luke's
So,
father.
at the end of the day, give myself 200 points for all of these valid points that I've made. Give yourself minus 15 points.
Okay.
Because you didn't bring anything with this James Earl Jones convo.
Okay, fine.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to Mr. Jones? I mean, at least, rest in peace, Mr. Jones.
He's not dead. He's just retiring from voicing Darth Vader.
I have it in my notes that he passed away.
No,
I
he
said
didn't.
that he's retiring because he died.
No, he's not retiring, then he'd be dead.
I wrote James Earl Jones retiring at the age of 91 after dying.
No, he's not dead. He's
No,
alive.
hold on. Maybe James Earl Jones dead at the
No.
age of 91. As a result, he will retire. Is that the story?
No.
I'm confused here.
Coolio's
When
dead.
did he die?
Did
James Earl Jones die?
He's not dead.
James Earl Jones is still alive.
Yes, he's alive at 91.
So you can't say rest in peace to someone who's alive? I mean,
That-
I'm saying, listen, let's just be
That's
honest.
kind of bad luck.
He's only got a few years left.
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
trying to...
Who knows? Kirk Douglas lived to be like 102, 103.
Kirk Douglas?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, but he was all like, I'm Kirk
Yeah,
Douglas.
I know.
Hey, it's good to be here at the Oscars.
He didn't sound that
I'm Kirk Douglas. Everyone remember Spartacus? Remember that one? That was me.
Yeah.
Before Russell Crowe, it was me who dressed in the little mini dresses in Rome. I'm Kirk Douglas, saying I'm your father, Luke. That part should have been mine. Uh-oh, just had an accident. It's a little wet in the underwear area now. Anyway, thanks a lot, Academy. Goodbye. I'm Kirk Douglas. See you later.
Please not shit on one of the best actors of the...
Kirk Douglas or James Earl Jones?
Well, both.
Okay.
Now,
Listen, is Kirk Douglas still alive?
No, he's dead, but he was like 100...
Whoa!
He's like a...
That missed my radar. Okay, breaking news on Yaddle Chattle. Kirk Douglas, dead. At the age of 102, you said?
It was like 102 or 103.
102 or 103, Kirk Douglas. Michael Douglas's father, dead.
Yes.
What a scoop we have. So as long as we can report one Hollywood legend dying per episode, that's all I actually care about.
Okay.
So we didn't get James Earl Jones this week, but
Clint is still alive.
Clint Eastwood.
He's in his 90s.
I mean, let's
Mel
report
Brooks.
it. Let's report it and see if we get sued.
No, let's not.
All right, you know what?
James Earl
They're all
Jones is still alive.
James Earl Jones is still alive.
He's still alive.
Douglas is dead, though. Michael Douglas, out of here.
Coolio's
Pushing
dead.
daisies, taking a dirt nap, 6 feet under. Forget about it.
Yes.
Michael Douglas, bye-bye.
No, Michael
Spartacus,
Douglas is
pretty
alive.
good movie. Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas died a few years ago, yes.
Michael Douglas seems like he's about 100. How is it that Kirk Douglas is 100 and Michael Douglas is 100?
I
Are
think
these guys twins or they're father and son?
I
Because
think-
they're both, old people who are both dead.
Kirk is or Michael's probably in his 70s
Oh,
at this point.
oh,
maybe
Michael's
80s.
still alive?
Yes.
Okay. Listen, bottom line, James Earl Jones, you're a legend. We respect you. I guess I'm doing some sort of salute thing because I can't say rest in peace. Apparently, you're alive. I had a beautiful eulogy that I wrote out right here. It took me 90 seconds to write this eulogy, and I was going to deliver it and everything. Well, you know what, James Earl Jones? You ain't getting it. Nope.
Why don't
You ain't getting it until you die. So
Okay.
maybe that's a little motivation.
No, we don't. We want him.
I mean, not to die, but motivation to hear your eulogy, which only would happen if you died. Yeah, if you were dead and stuff. Let's just move on.
Sure.
To
Let's talk about Andor.
we're gonna talk about Andor, but I'd like to let Yaddle Chattle. I'd like the fans. Is your wife texting you
No.
while we're trying to be on the air here?
No, but
You know how angry I get when wives text people.
I mean, she's the boss. So you'll have to put up with her.
Listen, she's wonderful. Now listen.
She is wonderful.
One thing I wanted to talk to Yaddle heads before we start discussing and breaking down Andor, as only we can, with genius, is I asked Jared, I said to Jared, any things you'd like to discuss on Yaddle Chattle tonight? And Jared, for the 17th week in a row, I kid you not, brings up the Tales of the Jedi animated thing, which hasn't come out yet.
I know.
And to my knowledge, they're shorts. They're going to be little tiny animated shorts
Are they
that are going to
really?
have a very little consequence, in my personal opinion, and very little significance in the importance of the Star Wars galaxy. There's going to be no magnitude to these things. They're little tiny animated shorts that are just going to be thrown out there.
Oh.
Why are you... This has become an obsession. A Jedi Jared obsession.
Well, because
Is it because of the Jedi thing, Tales of the Jedi?
No, it's because you're gonna see Count Dooku as a good guy. You're gonna see a young like him either being trained by Yoda or training Qui-Gon Jinn. So you're gonna see perhaps an appearance by Liam
Fine.
Neeson.
Why are you so obsessed
Because
with
I want to
this?
see that.
But you do
This is
understand that
also
this
the-
is not a full-on animated. You're talking about this like it's Clone Wars or Rebels, is my point. And I had to look into it, and I was like, yeah, there's 4 to 6 minute episodes.
Oh, that's it? So they're like the Jendi.
I don't know. I mean, that's the word on the street.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I don't bring up Tales from the Jedi.
Well,
Show
now-
me Tales from the Jedi first. Let me be blown away. That's one that I can be caught off guard. Not everything is good. Is going to get a proper Star Wars build-up. You understand? You
get
got to
it.
have varying degrees. All the Disney Plus live action series, there's going to be excitement there. All of the movies, obviously, excitement there. And I would say animated shows that have a touch of a Filoni, have him as an EP or executive producer, any Filoni animated series, I think you're going to have some excitement, a little bit of buzz. But you're not going to have it for every Star Wars project. That includes this rinky-dink,
Okay,
small.
Fine.
Now, you tell me that Tales of the Jedi is a 25-minute, 8-part series, 10-part series, and we're going to get proper episodes on Disney Plus. They're 25 minutes long. I'm in.
Okay. But it's not.
I don't know. You're the person who brings up Tales from the Jedi every week.
I'll find out for next week.
You bring it up. You don't even know the details.
Well, you had me do this Andor glossary.
All right, listen.
You said the
We're going to do that.
Andor.
One more little bit of news before we talk about Cassian Andor.
Okay.
Liam Neeson had a very nice thing to say. Very quality guy, this Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to come back as Qui-Gon at the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi because he was possessive over the character and he wanted to do it. But he also said he wanted to pay homage to George Lucas and that he found working with George Lucas to be a wonderful experience and thinks he's a brilliant visionary and wanted to pay homage to George by coming back as Qui-Gon. Thoughts on that? Because we haven't really heard that, we hear from the directors a lot about George Lucas and how much the Star Wars movies influenced them growing up as kids and blah, 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 blah. You don't hear that as much with actors.
Well, Ewan McGregor talks about that in A Jedi's Return. About
A little bit.
How influential Star Wars was.
Star Wars! George specifically. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
obviously Star Wars is George, but that is my point, though. I like it when the person gives the specific name. That makes a difference to me.
Okay.
That's not just saying Star Wars in this nebulous thing that's now owned by Disney. It's saying, no, that guy, George Lucas, the guy who created everything that we're watching, I wanted to pay homage to that guy. It was important for me. That I liked. I appreciated that. Give Liam Neeson 55 points. Minus 55 for Jared. Because you weren't moved by it, apparently. I was.
Okay.
Well, what do you think about him? And how come more actors don't do this? Because remember, the guy has got to be, 65 now?
Yeah.
So it's not like he's angling for jobs. What I'm trying to say in
But-
a roundabout way is, do you think that George Lucas, it's still a sin to say George Lucas
in fact,
at Disney? Because it was when Disney first bought
I think that's
franchise.
That's changed since the sequel trilogy has come out. George Lucas has become saving grace. Like that's what we touch on this here and there. That now they bring George out whenever they can.
And all of those documentaries feature George visiting the set, and they're making sure those cameras are rolling.
Because
both the video and the photograph cameras got to be rolling.
They want to make sure that George is giving his seal of approval.
And it's just it's a good photo op, whether or not George is. They're showing George and inferring that he is passing the torch to these this new generation of filmmakers. But I appreciate Liam Neeson saying that because I still love George Lucas. When we watched the ILM documentary, gained so much, but also he just even more appreciation for George. He really did things that were so far ahead of its time. It's not even funny. He really did see computers and digital as this is going to be the way so that everyone can make any kind of story. And if George Lucas doesn't create Star Wars, I'm not sure if we're getting Lord of the Rings. They tried many, many times. The rumor was even Kubrick was approached in Lord of the Rings.
Really?
The technology was not there. Lord of the Rings is so imaginative, like Star Wars, that they just could not technically ever do it. A movie like Jurassic Park, it's not coming out unless Star Wars came out first and the building blocks of the digital technology were formed, and that was all George, and it was something he was cognizant about. It wasn't like George got lucky or right time, right place. It was George screaming, "This is the future of the filmmaking industry," and a lot of people ignored him.
Well, ILM, the whole impetus for ILM was like necessity. There were no special effect houses, so we had to create one for this big, space opera.
It had to be created by George, but it's not just the ILM company. It's this approach that computers and technology will now enable us to get any story that's in our minds told on screen. That's huge. That's arguably the biggest contribution to filmmaking since color or sound. Honestly, if you're going to look at movies, you put sound and you put color, and then you put what George Lucas did. It changed filmmaking. Period.
It definitely made editing.
We're not in the bro. We're not even talking about the big, huge Marvel, Star Wars, special effects driven movies. We're talking about the fact that now a guy with a small or woman with a small team can grab a digital camera and a green screen and make something look fantastic for a small amount of money. And if they have it in their head and they have the know-how to put it into the computer, they can tell visual, incredible stories with all the components of technology. That's what George wanted to happen.
I can agree. I could totally agree, and I think that has opened up.
I'm out of water, so I got.
Would you like some water? I have water right here. Some nice alkaline water.
What is this now?
It's good for you.
Alcohol water?
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
No, it's alkaline water.
Alkaline?
Yes, high pH water.
All right, that's good. That's good.
It's got the salts that keep you hydrated. Oh, shut up.
All right, so what were you going to say?
So I go back and forth about how I feel about too much CGI, because I feel like there is a point, and I think this was something.
Sure.
I think it was Simon Pegg's daughter was on the set of The Force Awakens, and she said something to J.J. Abrams, which forced him to. He thought about it, and he was like, "I'm gonna bring back more practical effects."
Interesting.
Because I think originally BB-8 was supposed to be completely
CGI.
And I know that there were probably parts of it that were CGI, but there was an animatronic.
Oh yeah, no.
BB-8.
Actually, BB-8 was mostly there. I'm not even sure if they had any type of stuff like that. What I saw with a BB-8 was tons of real life BB-8s. They would CGI the guy if the guy was pushing him on a pole. Yeah. That's who would get CGI'd out. So it was amazing stuff.
But I feel like there has to be a certain amount of balance because, and I was thinking about this earlier, and I was talking to kind of a friend about this. Have you ever seen the original Conan the Barbarian?
Yes, not for quite some time,
but it's one of my favorite movies, and it doesn't have the best special effects, but it's got a really great story written by John Milius and Oliver Stone. Schwarzenegger.
You're right.
Schwarzenegger in his prime.
Sure.
It's got.
Right before that was his breakout role. Right before he became a massive star.
I love it. It's one of my favorite movies. It's not a great movie. It's not like a cinematic masterpiece, but it's a really good, fun movie. Flash forward to Jason Momoa's Conan the Barbarian, which was mostly CGI, and I thought it was garbage.
Okay, I understand. I had a similar thing with the Clash of the Titans. The original Clash of the Titans with Harry Hamlin in 1982, I absolutely loved as a kid.
And the Ray Harryhausen.
I loved it. And then I saw the new Clash of the Titans, and I was like,
So I think that as, if you have a really good story, CGI can, maybe build it up. But a lot of these movies now, they're a lot of the big budget ones are all, 90% CGI. And I feel like it takes it out.
If you can build aliens, you build them. Where CGI comes is the huge monsters that are just epic in scale, and there's no way for you to do it the right way. I mean, let's be honest. We know puppets and stuff, but if you're going to be running around an entire city and blah, 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 you might as well use the CGI. CGI, to me, can work on planets and things like that. Great, it always looks pretty good to me when we're seeing different landscapes and things.
But here, to bring that up, and we'll get back to Star Wars, but
please,
the movie that kind of really took me out of like too much CGI was Black Panther, because there's supposed to be this high tension scene where Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan are fighting on top of the waterfall, and it looks, you can tell it's completely fake. You can tell that the entire scene was shot in front of a green screen, and like
I understand that
it takes all the drama.
No, I get
of
it.
Like
Wait,
you know that there's no stakes.
Let's go into Andor then, because this is a conversation for Andor. I think Andor feels like they've made great sets.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. Now, here's one thing I'm going to say right off the bat. Coruscant. I love it. We can't talk about the mythological Star Wars show, Star Wars Underworld, that may or may not have been a thing, but the rumor was George wanted to produce a show called Star Wars Underworld that was going to take place at Coruscant that would feature all the criminals. Regardless, ever since I learned that, Coruscant, I love Coruscant. The idea of Coruscant works. Coruscant was always cool looking. In Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan and Anakin are chasing that bounty hunter through Coruscant, whether it's in Episode 3, the Jedi Temple, the Senate in Coruscant, Palpatine's chambers. I love Coruscant, and now we're seeing a lot more Coruscant. If you think about it, Coruscant to me sounds like it would be like a planet the size of Jupiter, and obviously the whole thing is a urban city. Whole thing.
It's a megapolis.
And it's humongous, which means there are countless areas and neighborhoods in Coruscant to discover, to explore. We should be in Coruscant all the time. And Coruscant, unlike, I know people, don't like the thing with Tatooine, but when you're in a city, doesn't just need to be one thing or the other. It can be the club, it can be the Imperial Senate, it can be this, that. You can really mix it up on Coruscant. I want to see more I'm happy we're seeing more Coruscant. Keep going with the Coruscant. I love it. And I thought it looked great. I thought it did not look tremendous. There were times where I felt like it did not look CGI, as you're saying. That it looked like one monster New York City. Just infinitely though. So just the skyscrapers go on for thousands of miles.
I think as long as they keep they do a lot more interior shots, then you're going to see full on set pieces, as opposed to being on the landing strip or being maybe on a balcony or something like that. Then you'll get a lot more CGI. Or if you're outside on a walkway. But we saw the inside of the security bureau, and it had a very much that imperial aesthetic that George really and the set designers for the original trilogy kind of created. And I love that they're trying to stick with it. Like the basic colors, like the Republic was
100%.
Big and grand, and there were lots of colors and flashy.
This is gray
and flashy.
It's the Empire, baby. It's gray. It's black and white.
It's gray, black, white.
That's it.
Red.
Little bit
red.
Little bit of colors of red. But when you think Empire, you're thinking gray, black, and white. We don't mess around. We're not into colors.
Everything's clean and sanitized.
Oh hell yeah! Let's talk about the corporation. So last week, I made a prediction. I said that individual... Oh, your homework assignment was to create a glossary. A glossary of terms, of characters, and planets. Because we don't want to annoy the Yaddle heads by calling him Agent Cooper.
Yeah. So his name is...
Okay, the guy who looks like young Kyle MacLachlan in Twin Peaks.
So his name is Cyril Karn.
Cyril Karn. Well, can I see that, please?
Yeah, right there. He's the deputy inspector.
Okay, Cyril, I think.
Cyril
Karn. All right, that's going to be tough. Okay. Cyril Karn got them all in trouble, as predicted. The guy in the middle was like, oh, I had nothing to do with this. That poor bastard. And he really didn't. He absolutely told Cyril Karn, leave this alone.
Yeah,
don't do it. And he wasn't he told him. He's like, don't do anything. He wasn't, I don't even think he was complacent. So that poor guy. Cyril Karn had to go back home to mom's house. And this is why I love Coruscant. Because We just
Was
got
that
a low
Coruscant?
poverty, like low income, either lower middle class or whatever you call it, or high, higher, lower
He's like
class.
working class.
But working class, kind of, sort of poor type of neighborhood, working class, 100% with the mother, who I don't know. I mean, if it was Cyril Karn's mom or Jedi Jared's mom, with the hairdo and the way she was talking.
She was very.
She was very much like your mother.
Very.
I thought it was the same person.
How do I put this? I could understand.
You can understand. We don't want to offend anyone, but you can understand.
I can understand
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But I loved her because it was just new, and this is why I love Coruscant, because you saw him go down.
Yes.
So,
There's that
obviously, the
symbolism.
lower you go in Coruscant, obviously, because everything that's cool is on the surface. With the Jedi Temple, the Senate, blah, blah, blah. And so, obviously, as you go down miles and miles and miles of urban development and cities and technology, the lower you go, the poorer you are. When you hit ground floor, oh my God, I don't even want to see what's going on That's where that Underworld series, though, would absolutely be brilliant. Because they're showing that there is absolutely a pecking order. And he had to go down in that elevator for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And the depression. Because he had made it out of this kind of slum, working class neighborhood. And now he's back.
He had a higher profile.
Job.
He was in charge of people.
When she greeted him by slapping him, I'm assuming that it was more like she wanted him to stick around. Don't leave me, stay by the, we'll work together, blah, blah, blah. No, I want to make something of myself. And I got to leave you, Mom. I got to leave you behind. So that's why she slapped him. I loved it. Now, we talked about last week the fact that some people, our wonderful friends at Rebel Force Radio, Jimmy Mack, made a prediction that said he was going to turn good. I made a prediction where I disagreed and said that, what's his name, Cyril Karn, will slowly try to get into the Empire. That he will backstab whoever he has to backstab. That includes his comrades in the corporation security team. I think all of those guys he'll backstab. He'll figure a way to start betraying people to get a job in the Empire. I still think that's in play. But do you think that there could be a little bit of a rebel thing?
You see,
because it would make sense that he would get ticked off at the Empire for shutting him down, kicking him out of his job.
I don't know. It was very funny to watch that. I kind of was like, okay. And then the mother slaps him and is like, come inside type of thing. I was waiting for the next scene to be something out of Goodfellas where she's cooking him food and he's talking about the situation. I thought that was going to be the next scene.
One bantha goes one way, one bantha goes the other way. One bantha goes east, one bantha goes west, so what? And I like this guy. He looks like this nice Jedi that we know with this nice head of hair.
And I thought, well, maybe then she'll ask him what he's going to do next. He fucked up. What's plan B now that you're out of the corporation?
I think this is temporary. He's gonna move in with Mom. She's gonna drive him nuts. He's gonna be out there and say, listen, I have to do something here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to figure out how to sell out the corporation and get a job. I'll start as an intern at the Empire.
So
I think that's what Cyril Karn would literally do. He would start if you need me in the mail room, mailing Palpatine's letters, I'll do that.
So you don't think we've seen the last of him?
No.
He'll be back. He'll be around.
No, I don't think we've seen the last of. That's a good call though. Because didn't they say these are going to be taken in 4-story arcs?
Yeah.
So that might be the end of his... It would make sense if that's the end of his story.
That's how I kind of see it. This is the introduction. We're kind of seeing where this...
It's going to be Mon Mothma's show now, along with Cassian. And It's going to be... What is the guy who is played by Stellan Skarsgård?
His name is Luthen Riel.
Okay, Luthen. Luthen is my new favorite character. A combination of Hannibal from the A-Team, but he's got some weird Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet type of thing. Remember when Dennis Hopper would put on the mask or get all weird? Just when he tried on the wig and was looking at himself all daintily and everything and getting into character, that actually was awesome. Yeah. That felt felt really David Lynch to me. Like, it didn't feel Star Wars. It felt like this is a little bit creepy, a little bit weird. And this Luthen guy is, he's an odd duck. At first, I just thought straight up Hannibal from A-Team. Now I'm seeing he's a kind of a Hannibal meets a David Lynchian weirdo. I love him. This is not an insult. This is a compliment. Luthen, that wig scene helped me out tremendously. And him and Mon Mothma, great chemistry, I thought.
Yes. So I think that it's kind of like the whole thing, like we wear masks. So the mask that he wears is the Luthen.
He's a museum curator or something?
He's a high art expert.
High art dealer?
He owns an art gallery.
Gotcha.
Like he deals with these artifacts and art and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
And he's also the real Luthen is the rebel. The Sarge, the guy who's
no question.
The
guy we saw talking to Cassian and the girl.
That's who he really is.
That's who he is, 100%.
Yeah. And the whole thing is him putting on a costume.
I loved it.
The jewelry, he like did something to his face, to like make it look nice.
And he just started acting weird. That's the part that I thought was David Lynch. The weird thing with the hand.
Or
and like looking into the mirror like. And I know he's obviously practicing what he's going to look like as this weird art dealer, but it was weird. It was, I mean, in a good way. It was unique.
So we see.
I'm loving Mon Mothma too.
Yes.
Her husband sucks.
Well, so I found it funny was when Luthen and his assistant were talking about like how she has a new driver.
Yeah.
And basically she's being tailed
by that guy. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Empire kind of knows. Like the Emperor knows who the bad egg or the quote unquote bad eggs are.
Who are the people who aren't just going to lie down and let the Emperor do whatever he wants to do? They're going to start following and keeping an eye on these people.
Mon Mothma
is one of those.
Bail Organa is another one.
No question.
You know, it's all of those people.
She said she wanted to bring someone into the inner circle.
I think
Bail.
It's Bail.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, I think it's Bail. I think
Could it be Obi-Wan Kenobi?
No, because Obi-Wan's not like active. Like Bail is active.
Yoda?
No.
I'm trying to think of some other names.
Well, because
here.
no one knows Yoda's still alive. Everyone assumes.
Could we go into animation? What about any of the characters from say Rebels?
Well, because Rebels at this point, because this takes place 5 years before Rogue One.
I know.
Doesn't Rebels first season take place now? It's running simultaneously.
Oh, I don't know. I thought Rebels took place like 3 years before Episode 4. But I mean, we're getting into the nitty gritty. I'm just saying, is it definitely Bail Organa? She wants to bring someone into the Alliance.
I think it's Bail. It's either Bail.
Has to be Bail Organa.
Or I mean, they did name drop Saw Gerrera. And I'm almost certain. I'm
maybe it is Saw. Maybe she's talking about Saw.
Saw.
You know what?
I've seen
that. I think, and now I'm starting to like that even better.
Because I know.
So you know what? That's who it is. Give myself 50 points for coming to the realization that it probably is.
No.
Yeah, Jared said it, but it was me who decided. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. So I get the 50 points. You don't worry. Minus 16 for you.
They mentioned Saw Gerrera. I don't know where his head is at this point because we see
it's on his body. Give myself another 55 points. No. You're like, where's his head? I'm like, hey, it's a little Sith humor, everybody. It's a little Sith humor. Jared's like, I don't even know. Hey, Darth David over here for a little Sith humor. Jared one time told me, hey, I don't know where Saw Gerrera's head is at this point. I go, it's on his body on Jeddah. That's a little Sith humor for you. It's like, what do you get when, Yoda, goes up and down an escalator?
What?
I don't know. I was hoping you'd give me a punchline. Anyway, that's a little Sith humor for you. Yeah, we got all kinds of things. Okay, here's one last year. Okay, what do you get when you have a Sith Lord be friends with Wayne from Wayne's World? What do you get when they have that?
What do you get?
Darth Vader! Hey, that's a little Sith humor for you. Just give a spur of the moment. I'm Darth Vader, and screw you!
It'll either
You know what? I should probably work on how I end my comedy sets. Because screw you doesn't feel nice to the audience. I know I'm a Sith Lord.
It should be something, the Sith equivalent of May the Force be with you.
Do they have one of those?
I don't think
They
so.
should. I'm not sure. No, it's just dark side and power. You hear a lot of the dark side and power.
May the
Dark side, power.
Maybe the dark side empower you. I don't know.
Oh, Jared.
So
let's keep going. We gotta wrap this up too because I got stuff to do.
It's either gonna be Bail Organa or Saw Gerrera because I know that they've talked about definitely.
No, actually, I like the Saw Gerrera thing. I thought Bail Organa made sense, and just for me, almost made too much sense.
You'll definitely. See
I just thought it was a little bit too obvious.
Well, it has to be him though.
I mean, obviously, Mon Mothma knew Bail Organa because we said and also we see him in Rogue One together.
Yeah.
Some people have brought up the fact that they were in a scene in by the way, same actress. They were in a scene, a cut scene from Revenge of the Sith. Have you ever seen that? It's on YouTube.
No.
So the same actress, Genevieve O'Reilly, who does Mon Mothma now and did Mon Mothma in Rogue One, actually did Mon Mothma in Episode 3. And they had her at a table, and I believe Bail was there. So she's known him. And now, again, since that scene was cut, technically it's not canon, but...
Even in the Clone Wars, though, they're always like with... Padme was always that kind of link between the two of them because she was friends with both of them.
That's right. That's true. All right. God damn. So much stuff happened. The Game of Thrones. Star Wars connection continues to get hot and heavy. In fact, the Game of Thrones actors making their way into pop culture, I'm enjoying. As a massive Game of Thrones fan, and yes, I am watching House of Dragon, and I give both 2 thumbs up, but this is a Star Wars show. The girl who Cassian meets, right, the third one.
Her name is Vel.
Vel. I'm almost positive she was in Game of Thrones. Look up the actress real quick. Okay. I'll talk for her. Okay. Vel. I believe Vel was the... See, in Game of Thrones, they had this awesome character who was the man of 1,000 faces. And he was basically an assassin who could literally, Game of Thrones has its own magical, properties and whatnot. And he literally lived in a hall of 1,000 faces and could put one on and it would stick to him and then he would be like a changeling.
Yeah, she was the waif.
She was the waif. I was right. Bam! So... that guy, the man of 1,000 faces, who, by the way, just appeared on this previous season on Stranger Things.
Yes.
He was the Russian guard.
Yeah.
He was the Russian guard who helped Winona Ryder and the other guy, Hooper, escape. But... Hopper. That guy, the man of 1,000 faces, had a protege. It was her.
Yeah.
The waif.
And she was
and then she taught Arya, and then she had a...
she hated Arya.
She had a conflict with Arya Stark. Now, we've seen a lot of Game of Thrones, people.
Yes.
In fact, Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian,
actually
from Game of Thrones. Next week we got to put together a whole Game of Thrones.
There was actually,
but also Captain Phasma. There's more. There's a lot.
What's her face in Obi-Wan?
There you go, Emilia Clarke. Oh, I'm sorry. No. In Solo though, Emilia Clarke is that.
But the one that Obi-Wan was friends with, that was the other Martell.
Yeah, 100%. It was Pedro Pascal's sister. It's amazing. So Star Wars is heavy into the Game of Thrones. You're seeing those Game of Thrones actors all over Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not hating it because I love me some Game of Thrones. You think maybe they'll rethink about the fact that they were gonna have those 2 Game of Thrones dudes do a movie and now those guys pulled out? Those guys pulled out. They weren't fired.
I don't know. I think they probably pulled out. Because they pulled out pre-Mandalorian,
think, exactly. I think they pulled out 2017 when what was hitting the fan in the Star Wars galaxy. And they're like, you know what? We don't need to be a part of this franchise. But if those guys can have their own thing and put it on Disney Plus, I would like to revisit that. Because I thought that they did a tremendous job with Game of Thrones, including the last episode and the last season that everyone hated.
I think that's...
That's just me. I'm Mr. Davy Likes. I know I'm Darth David, but I like what I like. So she was and then the rest of the people at the camp, pretty good, nondescript. The one guy, there's one dude who I'm gonna keep an eye on. I forget what his name was, Steen or something, but he was the one guy who said late in the game for surprises. No, they all had a problem with Cassian entering their camp, but this specific guy, Steen,
There we
Sleeb.
have Sewell Ramey, right?
This is from the camp.
Yeah. No, Lieutenant Gorn.
Yeah.
No, that's Lieutenant. It's either Lieutenant Gorn.
No, it wasn't Lieutenant. That's a guy from the Empire.
Well, he's from the Empire, but he's a rebel spy for.
I know, but that wasn't him.
Yeah, Skeen, Avril Skeen.
It was the guy I've been calling Skeen.
Yeah,
you wanted to give me every other character,
Sorry.
but there's actually a guy named Skeen.
Yeah,
why were you debating with me when there's a guy right there? What is it? His name is Anvil Skeen. Arvil.
Arvil Skeen.
I was gonna say Anvil. Jim the Anvil Neidhart, baby. Our foundation.
Was
Let's
that
go.
was that the guy with the
tag team
mustache?
champions? What?
Was that the guy with the mustache?
No, he's the skinny guy who, remember one guy was asleep at the beginning and the guy put a gun to his head and said, if you did this with Saw Gerrera, you'd be dead?
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the guy who fell asleep. It was the guy who put the gun up to him.
Okay.
And I think he's going to betray that camp. I think he's a dark side guy. Or Imperial.
Maybe.
I do. Skeen! I don't trust you, bro. You're going to betray them, broskins. Anyway, final take on the episode, which I thought was excellent. Here's what I'll say. There was phenomenal action at the end of episode 3. I love that entire scene. I love the entire episode.
Yeah.
Episode 3 is my favorite episode thus far. Episode 4 was great though. Here's, just so you know, because I've been into Tony Gilroy for years with Michael Clayton and stuff like that. The action is psychological. The action is all in your head. You're going to get goosebump moments and moments where you're on the edge of your chair, but it's all mental. It's all upstairs, And then as we approach, I think we'll see a pattern with every 3 or 4 episodes, you'll get a big battle sequence the way we did in episode 3.
Well, you were saying that he's doing the arcs.
Exactly. That's why I feel that way.
So we saw the end of the home planet arc. We didn't see any flashbacks in this one. You noticed that, right?
Correct.
So we're seeing a new arc start with this heist.
Yes.
And we'll see whether he pulls it off or something goes dramatically wrong. And then for the next 2 or 3 episodes, I want to say Diego Luna looked very much like Paul McCartney, late Beatles.
All right, I appreciate
he was
that.
looking. He was looking at off. And
I can see what you're talking about. As a Beatles fan,
I was like, he looks from
as a Beatles fan and someone who loves Paul McCartney.
He looked like Paul McCartney.
Did I ever tell you that there is no Sith Lord in the galaxy, none, who can sing Yesterday by Paul McCartney and the Beatles the way I can? I'll give you a sample right now. Think I just toot my own horn and not back it up? Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now I need a place to hide away. Yes, I believe in yesterday. I'll go to the bridge so as not to bore the Yaddle heads. Why she had to go, I don't know, she wouldn't say. I said something wrong, now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, I just, I rushed it at the end because we're doing a show, we're on a time crunch.
Yes.
But was that not perfect?
That was perfect.
Give myself 70 points. Because Abbey Road came out in 1970. Or was it 69? Abbey Road came out in 1969. Let It Be came out in 1970. That's enough.
Okay. We have an email.
All right, let's get to the email. Let's get to the Star Wars cage match. Let's get the heck out of here. We got things to do. I got stuff to do. Let's go.
So this is from Joe Dallas.
Faster. Joe Dallas. Love
Dallas.
Joe Dallas.
Joe Dallas
great
is
guy.
the official scorekeeper of Yaddle Chattle.
He does an amazing job.
So he said, it's time for the 25th Silver Anniversary episode Point Breakdown.
Oh, that's a good call. Every time we have a big, huge, yeah, that's good.
He goes, I find it very interesting that the positive negative number is almost balancing Sith Jedi versus Jedi. Dave's positive 18,321 in contrast to Jared's minus 13,487. And then he would like 1,000 points for himself for noticing that.
Joe Dallas, that's 1,000 points. Phenomenal observation. We don't even have to add on to the email. It was that good. Joe Dallas, 1,000 points. Phenomenal. I love him. All right.
He's going off on, he wants to see more of the more off.
All right. Let's get into, are you saying he has like lots of stats for us?
No, just
because if he does,
he broke down the points per show.
We can break down some of this stuff next week.
Okay.
We're on a time crunch tonight.
That's fine.
All right, Star Wars cage match, and then we get out of here. Let's go.
Okay.
Right.
Since we're talking about Andor, how about Cassian Andor versus Han Solo?
Cassian Andor versus Han Solo. I love it. I love the matchup. Finally, we get something. We get something that I can sink my teeth into. Cassian Andor versus Han Solo. Look, hey, love Cassian Andor. I mean, you're making me go against Han Solo? That's not something I'm prepared. That's not something I'm prepared to do.
Whoa.
At the end of the day, Han Solo, I think, has a little more conscience. And Cassian is able to ignore a little bit of those morals. He has one too, but he's able to make a more cold-blooded. He could kill people if he has to. And Han doesn't really want to kill people. He wants to talk his way out of it. Cassian, as a result, that gives Cassian Andor the mental advantage. Cassian, I hate to say this, Cassian Andor, and I love Han Solo so much.
3 words.
I mean, look at behind me. There it is.
3 words.
Yeah, the new one, the young one, the short one.
Han shot first.
Han shot first. And
that is the answer to everything.
And did it stay that way? When George Lucas went back and changed Han from shooting first, it was to indicate that Han Solo's not a cold-blooded killer like Cassian Andor. So thank you for just giving me the winning argument.
Bullshit.
Boom!
No, that's bullshit.
That's it. That's the end of the show.
Shot
No. That's the end of the show.
Han shot first.
That's it.
Han shot first. Han shot first.
And I'm only chanting, not because I agree with you, but because I like chanting.
That's usually
the wrong song. All right, listen. We gotta get out of here fast. Do the plugs quick.
Okay, first I wanna again plug Scad Art. He just put out a new line of Star Wars like samurai pictures that look really freaking great.
All right, quicker than with the plugs. Just let's go.
So follow him on Instagram. You can also like and subscribe to Yaddle Chattle on YouTube at Eastside Dave TV. You can check out EastsideDaveCountry.com. You can follow Eastside Dave across all social media platforms at Eastside Dave.
Jared.
Yes, David.
Final thoughts are, I'm enjoying Cassian Andor very much. I'm enjoying this new series. It's the most adult Star Wars we've ever gotten, and it's highly unique.
Yes.
And I can't. And I'll say this: the fact that it's 12 episodes is also really good because they are taking their time with this show. But that's fine. Just give us 12 episodes as opposed to 8. Now that it's 12, it doesn't. I'm not getting any anxiety. I'm like, yeah, keep stretching it out. Maybe this is something they can do with the other shows and start giving us 10, 12 episode Mando seasons. Cause I'm feeling like with only 8 episodes, I start to get anxiety because I don't want the season to go away, or I feel like, do they have enough time to finish the story? Regardless, I'm into it. I love it.
I like it too.
And that'll do it. He is Jedi Jared, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Darth David. Hope you're enjoying your Andor. Hope you're enjoying your Star Wars. Hope you love your Yaddle Chattle. Subscribe and like. And good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Have a good one.